Hi guys, in this video we're going to learn how to talk about jobs. Parler de travail. So, how do you ask someone you know well what they do for a living? If you're talking to someone you know really well, you need to use tu. So you can say, Qu'est-ce que tu fais dans la vie? What do you do for a living? Qu'est-ce que tu fais comme travail? What do you do as a job? Quel métier exerces-tu? What job do you do? Please note that métier and travail are synonyms and so are interchangeable. How do you ask someone you don't know well what they do for a living? If you don't know the person well, you have to use vous. So you can say, Que faites-vous dans la vie? What do you do for a living? Que faites-vous comme travail? What do you do as a job? Quel métier exercez-vous? What job do you do? Please note that you can also use these sentences if you're talking to several people at once. And how should you answer if you're asked what you do for a living? To say what you do for a living, use je suis, meaning I am, followed by your job title. Unlike in English, in French you mustn't use an article between the verb and your job title. So, for example, Je suis infirmière, et vous? I'm a nurse. What about you? Je suis écrivain. I'm a writer. How should you ask someone how long they've been doing their job for? If you're talking to a friend or family member, you can say, Depuis combien de temps fais-tu ce travail? How long have you been doing this job for? But if you're talking to someone you don't know well, you need to use vous, and so you can say, Depuis combien de temps faites-vous ce travail? How long have you been doing this job for? So how do you say how long you've been doing your job for? Say you're a teacher who started work in 2003, you could say, Je suis professeur depuis 2003. I've been a teacher since 2003. Or you could say, Ça fait 10 ans que je suis professeur. I've been a teacher for 10 years. How can you ask someone how many hours a week they work? If you're asking a family member or friend, you can say, Combien d'heures travailles-tu par semaine? How many hours a week do you work? And if you're talking to someone you don't know well, or to several people at once, you can say, Combien d'heures travaillez-vous par semaine? How many hours a week do you work? To tell someone how many hours a week you work, you can say, Je travaille 35 heures par semaine. I work 35 hours a week. Je travaille à plein temps. I work full time. Je suis à mi-temps. Je travaille seulement 18 heures par semaine. I work part-time. I only work 18 hours a week. How can you ask someone if they like their job? If you're talking to a friend or family member, you can either ask Est-ce que tu aimes ton travail? Or Est-ce que ton travail te plaît? Do you like your job? If you're talking to someone you don't know well, you can either ask Aimez-vous votre travail? Or Votre travail vous plaît-il? Do you like your job? How can you tell someone you like your job and why? To say you really like your job, you can say J'aime beaucoup mon travail. And why? Parce que j'adore les enfants et en tant qu'institutrice, je passe beaucoup de temps avec eux. De plus, j'ai beaucoup de vacances, ce qui est très plaisant. Because I love children and as a teacher, I spend a lot of time with them. Also, I have a lot of holidays, which is very pleasant. How can you say you don't like your job? Je déteste mon travail. I hate my job. Je suis serveur et je ne sais jamais à quelle heure je vais finir ma journée. I'm a waiter and I never know what time I'm going to finish my day. De plus, les clients ne sont pas toujours aimables. C'est très stressant. Also, clients aren't always nice. It's very stressful. How can you ask a young person what job they want to do in the future? To ask what someone wants to do in the future, you can ask Qu'est-ce que tu veux faire comme travail plus tard? What do you want to do as a job later on? Or, quel métier voudrais-tu faire plus tard? What job would you like to do later on? How can you say what job you'd like to do in the future? Say your dad was a firefighter and you wanted to do the same. You could say J'aimerais être pompier comme mon père. Je veux sauver des vies. I'd like to be a firefighter like my father. I want to save lives. If on the other hand you were hoping to become a doctor, you could say J'espère devenir docteur. How can you ask a young person if they have a part-time job? To ask a young person if they have a part-time job, you can say As-tu un petit boulot? Do you have a part-time job? Or Est-ce que tu as un petit boulot? Do you have a part-time job? Here's an example of someone talking about their part-time job. J'ai un petit boulot. Je travaille tous les samedis en tant que caissière dans un grand magasin. C'est assez ennuyant, mais j'aime avoir de l'argent pour sortir avec mes amis. I have a part-time job. I work every Saturday as a checkout operator in a big store. It's quite boring, but I like to have money to go out with my friends. This is the end of the video. If you liked it, subscribe, like and share. And don't forget, you can also find me on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for watching. Bye.